I Did Wrong in My 20s is about Stephanie Rogers. She's a 35-plus-year-old woman who recently lost her job and is really rediscovering herself. So the series follows her journey of trying to, find her passion and find her happy. Everything I Did Wrong in My 20s started out as a book idea in 2004 when I first turned 30. And it was supposed to be a humor book, but in the span of like 5 years, from 30 to 35, my life just shifted. I lost my mother, I lost my job, and I was really Stephanie in a sense. So I was really trying to redefine myself. So within 5 years, the story just totally shifted from, something of humor to my journey of really rediscovering myself. When I went in to audition for it, I went in just so I could meet Kim, the creator of the show. I just thought, oh, okay, I can get in there, and then maybe if she had like a good friend role, then she could use me for it. And so I went in, and then when I got the call about it, I was just so shocked that I got it because I didn't think I had anything in common with her. And then I was too fearful. I didn't think that I could actually do the role. I consider myself more of a comedic actress. And this thing was not comedy. If you've seen the show at all, the first journal entry is the audition that we use. So she's depressed, she's falling all out, and I'm like, that is not me. So when I saw the first episode and I watched it, it wasn't like I was watching myself. It was like I was watching a character go through a journey that was just like mine. And I was crying and rooting for her, and I had no idea that she and I had the same journey. So yeah, she quit her, well, she actually got fired from her job. I quit my job to pursue acting. She actually has a real desire to do photography. And so we're very similar in that aspect, in that we both have a desire to do something else, and we're in our mid-30s and we're trying to figure this thing out. When I'm watching, I'm like, man, me and this chick, we got a lot in common.
I am a 37-year-old unemployed woman living with a 20-something-year-old roommate, and she's a whatever.
A life coach.
Oh, I thought you owned a salon.
I'm a Renaissance woman.
I met the creator, Kimberly, when I was working on another film called Better Half, directed by Michelle Clay, who's one of the producers. And Kim had been on set and seen some of my work that way and thought I might be a good fit for Leslie. And it's funny because I had been, even prior to this project, wanting to create a character who was a life coach. That's something that I've just loved, the idea of a person who is really on a professional level trying to help other people get their lives together, but whose life is a mess, but has a lot of blind spots. And so it was really kind of serendipitous that this role came along, because that was exactly what I was interested in kind of exploring.
You can do it, Steph.
I know I can. I don't want to. Does that make me selfish?
No. That does not make you selfish.
I play Leslie, and I am Stephanie's best friend, which sometimes Stephanie agrees with and other times she doesn't, but that's very important to me that we're best friends. I try to be very positive and encourage Stephanie to kind of get out of whatever funk she's in, or I really am the person who challenges her the most, I think.
You love me, Malcolm Montgomery?
What's not to love? I mean, you're so creative, and smart, and independent, and strong. Look at you. I mean, hey, look at you. I connected to everything I did wrong in my 20s. It was an audition process, and so I submitted and was called in and read for the role. One of the things that connected me to this role, one is that it was a positive figure in the African American community. I liked not playing a drug addict or some other thug, if you will, and so he was an articulate, intelligent, educated guy. So I like that he can go all the way from quirk and eccentric to soft and contemplative. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, welcome.
We are a lot alike in that we are our own person. One thing I love that I've always done, I think he does as well, is we're able to laugh at ourselves. Do I smell bacon?
Yes.
He does quite a bit of that. I think with Malcolm, you're either laughing with him or you're laughing at him, and I think he's fine with you doing both.
Do you think I enjoy being a bitch? You can't be vulnerable and be respected and compete in an industry dominated by men. And because you're working 24/7, that attitude spills over into your personal life.
I actually got a phone call one day from a friend of mine who I'd worked with before in a play named Tiffany, who plays Stephanie. And Tiffany says, I'm doing this web series and we're still looking to cast this bitch character. And I thought of you. I think you will be perfect. I want to tell the director about you. And I said, won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Wait a minute, this is a memorial service for a dog?
I was so excited to be a part. I read the script, and I remember being, so excited to talk to Kim, the creator. And at the time, it was weird because I was a little nervous because I'm like, well, she doesn't really know me and this and that. And then kind of the same thing happened as when I talked to Tiffany, because then when I picked up the phone to talk to Kim said, oh, I saw your website. You're the part. I was like, oh, well, good, I think. So whatever it is, it works, and I'm Victoria, and I love her, and she's fun.
Malcolm told me he had a magnificent evening planned at the Watson. I can't believe they flooded this morning. That place is so sophisticated and elegant. But so kind of you to open up your quaint and eclectic home.
Victoria is the love interest of Malcolm, who happens to be Stephanie's best friend, and also Stephanie has a secret, or not so secret, crush on him. Malcolm and Stephanie have a best friendship. Malcolm, my character, and Stephanie have a genuine love and respect for each other.
Remember we were freshmen at Southern? But no, you said you were going to move to LA and make it. And you just did.
Yeah, well, we both did.
Well, I was following you.
Stephanie's relationship with Malcolm, well, they went to college together, and she really cares for Malcolm, but I don't know if it's a genuine, like, yo, I want to be with this dude, or if it's really, like, this dude has been there for me, and I've made some wrong decisions, like, if her just contemplating her life. She thinks she wants him, but I don't really know if that's what it really is. I think it's more because he has a boo now, Victoria, and I think it's just because she's seeing him with that, and she, like, oh, I want to be that. I want to have that. But I think that they're just good friends.
I'm saying, that's cool. You not gonna pay it.
I think it's interesting because I think Stephanie is actually a stronger and braver woman than Victoria, because she's at least open to search and kind of put her flaws out there and figure it out, whereas Victoria is still like kind of bottled up. I think that Malcolm is Victoria's release. I think all day long she is that bitch that you don't want to hear coming down the hall, like at work, off work. Like, I think she is that person. And I think with Malcolm, whenever she's around him, it's just like this youthfulness, like she's not a 40-year-old woman, which is hard to believe that I can play 40 years old.
I signed with an agent.
Oh, that's exciting.
I became involved with the series. It's so almost like serendipitous how it happened, because I was cast in a play called Bitch, and Kim, who wrote this series as well, wrote that play. And in New York, because she was based in LA and the production was being done in New York, we didn't get to see each other as often. I think it was only maybe once or twice in that time. So when I moved to Los Angeles, a film I was in was screening at this event, and Kim came up to me and I was like, wait. And it was so funny because I knew the face, but I knew the face from New York and I didn't know it from LA. And then we quickly had the conversation and we got caught up, and we met for coffee, maybe it was a few weeks later, and she shared this project and this idea and what she was gearing up to shoot. And for me, it was just like, I already knew her work, I already knew her writing, and it was just a matter of like, all right, well, thank you for sharing it with me, and like whenever, like I would love to, and whenever you're ready, let's do it.
You were networking at Happy's Memorial?
I'm definitely similar to Maxwell in many ways. Maxwell came from a small city to come to LA, and I recently, a year ago, moved to LA similarly to follow exactly what I knew was next for me, which were different opportunities. In many cases, I didn't know exactly what they were, but I knew that something was going to be in LA, and I feel like for Maxwell, it's the same.
Maxwell really represents that person who is like fearless, and she's that person in Stephanie's life who is really encouraging her and is an example that really you can do anything, because in your 20s a lot of times you feel that way. So, and even though she's younger, she sometimes has the most wisdom out of the group.
You've been sad since I got back from Iowa.
Everything's fine.
I created Everything I Did Wrong in My 20s as a voice for women like myself. When I was going through my journey of redefining myself, I was finding that a lot of my female friends were going through similar journeys. And so I created it to be a voice for women so they will know that they're not alone. This series celebrates women. You have myself, a female writer. I've made it a point to only hire female directors for this project. And you have this story of this woman's journey who is complex, who is authentic. I think that this series proves that our stories can be entertaining without the added drama, without the added relationship issues with men, that we can really stand on our own.
I didn't really realize that it was so much bigger than me until I saw the first episode. When I saw the first episode, I looked at all the comments. And at first I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do this show. I'm not a good enough actress and blah, 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 blah. And then when I saw the first episode and I saw all the comments that people were saying, you know, this is my journey. People saying, oh, I was going to commit suicide. Or people saying, oh my gosh, thank you, Kim, for that journal entry. You walked into my life. Or people saying, that's my diary entry. And so I realized that there is a hunger for a story like this.
I love reading comments and seeing that viewers are connecting with the series. The episodes are starting dialogue and conversation with total strangers, and total strangers are like uplifting each other up, and I just love that the series is connecting in that way.
I think Stephanie's journey transcends gender. I think it transcends race. I think it transcends culture. We've all made mistakes in our lives, and we've all made decisions that we now are living, and if we can look back and go, oh, wow, if I coulda, shoulda, woulda, as my mother used to say. And so I connect with her on so many levels because there are many things in my life now that I'm struggling through.
I think it strikes a nice balance that you don't see in a lot of web series. Oftentimes a web series will be just slapstick, just pure comedy, or pure drama, really intense drama. But this strikes a really nice balance. I feel like it does strike some really deep chords, especially at the end of each episode, and the kind of introspection and reflection that Stephanie has. And at the same time, you get to see her be ridiculous and fail and make mistakes and kind of go through this host of comedic things, sometimes really hard situations, but with a comedic spirit, and process them the way we do in real life, you know? So I think in that way it's very It feels very realistic. I don't think there are a lot of shows that really capture this moment, particularly for Black women.
I love, and I totally love that she journals, because I write in a journal pretty much every morning and at some nights just to get those thoughts out. And I love that that is part of who she is, and just the comfort of being okay with those thoughts and letting them rip on a page, and having that escape. And I think I can identify with that.
It's about finding your voice. It's about finding yourself. I think Kim has done such a good job of giving Stephanie such real raw emotions and real situations where even if you haven't specifically been in her position, you relate. I feel everybody's trying to find themselves. It's particularly, I think there's something when you hit your 30s and then being a woman in our society, if you're a woman that's not married or if you're a woman that doesn't have kids, I think it kind of challenges you a little bit.
There's no particular place I want my character to go, because when you watch a sitcom, at the end they tie it up in a cute little bow, but unfortunately life isn't like that. And so it would be nice to say, oh, I want Stephanie to find her happiness and, you know, become a great photographer and travel the world, but that's not necessarily how life goes. We have our ups, we have our downs, and that's what Stephanie is going through. So I don't know where it's going to go. I don't have a way that I want it to go, but I want it to be realistic in how life really is and how life has its ups and downs, but basically it's just a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.